Hello again, and welcome to my second video. It's very exciting. In this video, I will be showing you how to make my favorite meatballs, but we're gonna start with how I did this past week. So week 3, I lost 2 pounds, and again, I didn't feel anything weird, no symptoms of carnivore flu or anything like that, just was a good week. Physically. Emotionally, we won't even talk about that because yeah, I still don't have a job. But other than that, the week has gone great. And I did want to mention a little bit about last video when I was talking about the carnivore flu and that I only had a headache. I remembered this week that I did have something else. I had dizziness. So that second week, I had a few days where I was pretty dizzy. But that was it. So that's all. There was no intestinal issues, no like, oh, I'm so worn out and tired, I can't get out of bed. You know, there's no exhaustion. It wasn't like that. It was just a little dizziness. So I can handle that. That's all right. So today I wanted to make some amazing meatballs. I made these before and I just kind of made it up in my head, but meatballs aren't that really tricky. So it wasn't really anything big. I don't deserve an award or anything. But I am just going to take some ground beef. This is a good kind of ground beef here because it's grass-fed. Whenever you buy ground beef, you always want to buy grass-fed. I know it's a little bit more expensive, so you don't have to, obviously, if you're on a tight budget. But that's where all the nutrients, your vitamins and minerals are going to come from, is from the cow being grass-fed. So that's really important if you want to make sure and get your nutrition up with this. And that's, I think, what we all want to do. So anyway, I'm going to use some grass-fed Angus ground beef. And so I've got that right here. So I'm going to plop it in this bowl. Plop. There we go. And I am going to just get it all sort of, broken up before I start putting all the ingredients in, because it's going to let everything incorporate better. This, I think, is good because as I season it, I'll get more of the meat. I'll get it kind of everywhere with the seasoning instead of if you leave it in a lump. Okay, so this is pretty well broken up now, as you can see. Let you see that. So now I'm going to put my seasonings in, and I've got some salt. I don't have a shaker right now, and I don't have the proper sea salt. Again, on a budget, this is what I had, so this is what I use. Eventually, when I get that high-paying finance job that I'm after, maybe I'll be able to afford some Himalayan salt, and it would be amazing, but right now, I can't. So, it's okay. Pepper, I love pepper. I love it. So I put a lot. And onion powder. I do enjoy some onion powder. I really enjoy onion powder, I have to say. Okay, so we're good there. Now I'm going to put some Parmesan cheese. And you can use any cheese you like, obviously. I'm doing this because it's kind of what I have. I made it with this last time. It was still super good. Okay. And I don't measure anything, as you can see. I just plop it all in however I feel like it. And now I am having these amazing bacon bits. I love these to death. When I don't have time to make real bacon, I will use these. Not that this isn't real bacon, but you know what I mean. And I'm going to put the, oh gosh. That smells so good. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I am just going to put an egg yolk in it. The idea was I was going to put the yolk in, and I'm going to save the white right here in this bowl. So if it's not enough liquid, I can always add more, but you can't subtract liquid. So I know I'm pretty smart. So let's do it. Okay. Got to get a nice cup. Oh no! I did it wrong. That didn't work at all. You'd think I'd never cooked before or something. I wasn't a very good cook. That's probably true. Okay, well, we're just gonna go with this then. And I'm sure it's gonna be fine. All right, let's do it. Oh, yeah. That's totally fine. Okay, so now for the fun part, this is how it looks now. I'm gonna smush it up and make meatballs. You know, a lot of people like this. They think, oh, this is so much fun. It's like playing with your food. It reminds them of being a kid. And oh, this is so great. I really think it's gross. I don't like doing this at all. But I don't have gloves. I don't have any, you know, latex gloves or anything to use. I suppose I could use some sort of utensil, but this actually works the best. So I'm going with my hands. I just don't like getting messy. Okay, this is a really good consistency. It's not as wet as the last time I made it, and it's pretty perfect actually. So I'm glad about that. This was probably, I want to say, 3/4 of a pound of beef. It maybe a little bit less than that. So 1 egg for that was great. There we go. Okay, now to clean off. Okay, so now I'm just gonna form little balls. Just about like that. And I'm gonna set them aside before I cook. I don't like to have the burner on while I'm making the balls. I just prefer to make them all first and then cook them all. Or a few at a time actually, but one step at a time. I like to complete a whole step before I start the next step. This rolling like this reminds me of making cookies, which I don't get to make anymore. Yeah, but my favorite cookies, I would make like refrigerator chocolate cookies. So you would make the chocolate cookie dough and then refrigerate it, and then you would roll it into balls, and then you would roll it in sugar, and then you would bake it. There. You get cleaned up again. Okay, so this made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 meatballs. So now let's cook. So I like to get a nice sort of sear on each side, and then I'll be lowering the heat. And I don't have, you know, proper lid for this, so I'm gonna be using this. So that's why I'm not cooking all of them. Actually, I don't know if I would have enough room for all of them anyway. So I'll be cooking them in a couple batches. So I'll fit this so I can sort of use this as a little kind of oven thing, or steaming them, cooking them to get them finished after all the sear's on. Normally, if I didn't have that accident, let me show you. Well, I'll show you my accident right now. Little tip for ya, never store your grease in a plastic container, because it will break and it will, it will flow out. I just didn't have any sort of glass container in the van at the moment, so I need to get one right away. My poor grease. So yeah, that was this morning, and I lost all my beautiful bacon grease and meat grease and all my yummy, you know, fat. So I don't have anything like that to put in there. They're not gonna be quite as flavorful. I'm really disappointed in myself for, well, how did I know, really? Life is just about mistakes and learning from your mistakes, right? Since I'm using butter, I turned down the heat a bit. Ugh. Okay. Butter. Woo! Okay, here we go. There we go. Get this butter all around them. Oh my gosh. Ooh, that looks so good. That smells so good too. Wow. Okay. See, I don't even think about cookies now. Jeez. Oh, and this isn't for like a whole meal. Like I won't be eating 10 of these. 5 would be my limit. So this is 2 meals here, which is awesome. Now I'm just turning them so I get every side. So this is a long process, so I will get back to you when I am ready for the lid. Sometimes I think this would be easier if I made them into squares instead of balls. I don't know if that's possible, but it would make this flipping thing and cooking a lot easier. So now I've pretty much done all the sides, and I am just going to lower the heat and put the lid on so that I make sure and get the insides nice and done. Okay, so I'm going to take one out and just test it to make sure the middle is done. Oh, it's not even remotely done. Okay, well that's great. That's just wonderful. I think I needed to have the heat lower, and so I got to cook them more. So anyway, we'll just wait. Okay, these are great now. All done. And take these out. Oh my gosh. And start on the next batch. In the butter you go. You know, it's so liberating knowing what I know now about fats and about butter and meat and all of that, because if I had made these, you know, a couple months ago, I would say, oh my gosh, I should just, you know, use something, maybe spray a little stuff on it. Don't use butter, because, you know, that will just make everything worse. That will just make it more fatty and more calories and bad for you. And, or even like with bacon in the morning. Sometimes I used to see bacon as just like a treat maybe I shouldn't have very often. And knowing what I know now, that these, oh, it's a mosquito. Anyway, knowing what I know now, that these things are actually really good for you, and it's the other crap that's so bad. It's so liberating, you know. It's like, oh man, I can have 3 pieces of bacon every morning. Like what? It's just so. It's like being given a huge gift, you know. And I am so enjoying it. Not having to worry about every little fatty thing I want to eat. You know, and knowing that eggs are your friend. I mean, you shouldn't limit your eggs. They're so good for you, especially the yolks. Don't have an egg white omelet. Oh! Don't have an egg white omelet. That's like the worst thing you can do. You're taking all the nutrition out of your breakfast that way. Keep the yolks. Enjoy them because they're yummy. Okay, so they are all cooked, and now I'm going to taste one. Now you might see this and say, oh my gosh, Diane, those are burnt. But see, you say burnt, I say flavor. I like things that are, oops, let me turn this off. I like things that are kind of well done. You should see how I make eggs in the morning. Someday I will show you. You'll be appalled. But that's how I like my eggs. And that's the beauty of it. If you want to cook these on a lower temperature and cover them for longer and just not make them this dark, totally fine. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Wow. These are so good. So flavorful. Now I just imagine if I had had bacon grease to cook them in, that would make them even better. But you know, whenever I used to have meatballs, I used to, you know, I would dip them in ketchup or barbecue sauce or something. But that's because they were just kind of bland. But these, you don't even need a sauce. You can just eat them the way they are. It's amazing. Or you can sauce it, you know, whatever you want to do. Anyway, I think that's it for now. I'm going to enjoy these meatballs, and I will check in with you next week. And hopefully, I know, am I getting greedy? I'd like to lose more than 2 pounds. So I'm going to up my game a little bit this week, and we'll see what happens. So as always, thank you guys for watching so much. Please remember to subscribe and share with your friends. I really appreciate it. And like and comment. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.